Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay. I hope you are doing well. Yes. Today, we are going to study
Yes,
market.
sir. By God, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
I'm saying that,
Sir, please, can you be a bit louder?
okay, that today we are going to study market equilibrium, which is one of the most important concepts in economics. This topic helps us to understand how prices are determined in a market and how buyers and sellers interact. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain how market react, or how market reach balance, and how policies like taxes, subsidies affect that balance. So let us begin with the idea of a market. So when we say market, what comes into your mind? When you say market, what comes into your mind? I'm going to the market. I'm going to buy something from the market. So when we say market, what comes into your mind? Ken, Joseph,
Yes, sir. So, sir, a market is a place we buy and sell.
a place you buy and sell. So you can say that
Yes.
market is not just a physical place like Makola or KJTM. It is any system where buyers and sellers interact. So market is any system or arrangement that allows buyers and sellers to interact. So this could be online market, informal market, or even mobile-based market. The key idea here is interaction. If exchange is taking place, then a market exists. Whenever there's an exchange, therefore you can say that there's what? Market. So markets also differ in structure and sizes. Some are local markets, others are global, and some are competitive, others are controlled by a few firms. But in all cases, buyers and sellers must what? Meet. So market is any system or arrangement that allows buyers and sellers to interact. So the key issue is that market differs in structure, in sizes. Some are local, some are global, some are competitive, and others are controlled by a few markets. So a market with well structured, you can say that the market is a competitive market or perfect competition market. In a market whereby there's only few or one person in the market, when there is only one person, you can say that the market is a monopoly. The firm is a monopolistic or is a monopoly. When there are only few, you can say that it's a monopolistic market or oligopoly. So there's a structure in the market. A market can be local. You can say local, national, and global market. The nature of the goods also determines the kind of market that the firm or the buyers operate. And it should be noted that whenever there's an interaction between buyers and sellers, therefore there's what? A market. Last week, we did something on demand and supply. So we are coming to fuse the concept of demand and supply together. Now think about the two key forces in the market. What are the key forces in the market? You have demand, which represents consumers, the supply, which represents the producers. So prices are not determined by only one side alone. It is the result of the interaction between both the demand and the supply. So this is a very important aspect when it comes to economics. So demand and supply meet to determine what price in the market. It's neither demand nor supply alone that determines the price. It is their interaction that matters. Are you okay? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are
Yes,
with you,
sir.
sir.
So let's move to the concept of equilibrium. The market equilibrium occurs when quantity demanded equals to the quantity supplied. At this point, buyers get what they want. That is, buyers are satisfied. Sellers sell what they produce. Sellers are satisfied. No pressure for price to change. So whenever the demand equates or is equal to supply, we are saying that there's an equilibrium in the market. So market equilibrium occurs when demand equals to quantity supply, when quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. And at that point, buyers are satisfied, buyers get what they want. Sellers are satisfied, they sell what they produce. And there's no pressure for price to change. So in the market, quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. There's no excess demand or excess supply. So this creates stability in price. So equilibrium price is the price at which the market are clear. And the equilibrium quantity is the amount traded at that price. So together, they define the outcome of the market. We are saying that in equilibrium, the equilibrium price is the price at which balance what occurs. And the equilibrium quantity is the amount traded. So whenever demand is equal to supply, equilibrium price is determined, and the equilibrium quantity is also what determined. So let's take this hypothetical table for example. So as I said, price are determined through the market forces of demand and supply. So whenever demand equates to supply, then there's what? Equilibrium. Equilibrium has been established. And that equilibrium also establishes what? The prices and the quantity demanded. So based on this table, at the price of 10, the quantity demanded was 2. The quantity supplied was 10. When the price fell to 8, the quantity demanded was 8. Then the quantity demanded was 4. The quantity supplied was 8. At 6 price, the price of 6 Ghana cedis, the quantity demanded was 6. The quantity supplied was 6. When the price fell to 4, the quantity demanded was 8. So according to the law of demand, at the higher price, less is being demanded. And at the lower price, more is being demanded. Now, according to the law of supply, at the higher price, higher is being what? Supplied, and at the lower price, less is being supplied. So when we say that the firm is in equilibrium, we are saying that it's where is the point at which demand equates to what? Supply. So at point 10, at price 10 Ghana cedis, you can see that quantity demanded is less than quantity supplied, because at the price of 10, the firm supplied 10 output, 10 products, but the quantity demanded was 8. Therefore, there was a surplus. When the price fell to 2, the quantity demanded exceeded the quantity supplied. So there was what? Shortage. So it's at price 6 Ghana cedis, where quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. So we can say that at price 6, the quantity supplied equates to quantity demanded. So the equilibrium price on this table is 6, and the equilibrium quantity on this table is what? It's also 6. So at the 6, at 6 cedis, The buyers want exactly sales unit of quantity, and the sellers supply exactly sales unit of what? Unit of quantity. Therefore, there's no incentive to change in price. Then you can say that the equilibrium has been established at 6, at price 6, and the equilibrium quantity is also has been established at what? 6 units. Any question? Any question?
Hello, sir. Could you rehash that, please?
Okay. This is a hypothetical firm. And according to our law of demand, we know that at a higher price, less is being demanded, and at a lower price, more is being demanded. And we know from our law of supply that at a higher price, more is being supplied, and at the lower price, less is being supplied. So this is a hypothetical firm. At the price of 10, the buyers bought 2 units of the product, while the sellers were willing to supply 10 units. When the price fell to 8, the buyers bought 4, but the suppliers supplied what? 8. So at the price of 10 Ghana cedis, there was surplus because quantity supplied was 10, which was higher than the quantity demanded. So there was surplus. But when the price fell to 2, the consumers being rational, they are demanding 10 output of what? 10 units of the output. But the suppliers being rational were producing 2 units. Therefore, there was shortage. So it's at 6 Ghana cedis where the equilibrium is established, because at 6 Ghana cedis, the buyers want exactly 6 units, and the suppliers also supply exactly 6 units. Therefore, there's no incentive to change in price. So at this point, that's the 6 cedis, there's no incentive in changing price, because what the buyers want is the same thing as what the suppliers were supplying. So the equilibrium has been established. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Hello, Doc. Can you?
I should repeat it. Should I
Yes,
repeat
sir.
it
Yes,
again?
Doc.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Yes, please. Please go over here.
Okay. This is a hypothetical firm, an assumed firm. At the price of 10 Ghana cedis, the buyers were willing to buy 2 units of the product. Let's assume that this is a mobile phone. The market is a mobile phone market. So at the price of 10 Ghana cedis, the buyers bought 2 units of mobile phones. At the same 10 Ghana cedis, the suppliers were supplying 10 units of mobile phones. When the price fell to 8, the buyers were buying 4 mobile phones, but the suppliers were supplying 8 phones. At the price of 6 cedis, the buyers were buying 6 phones, but the suppliers were selling also 6. So you can see that at 6 units of the phones, the buyers want exactly what the suppliers were supplying. So therefore, you can say that there's what? An equilibrium, because there's no incentive to change in price. I hope it's okay.
That's okay,
Yes.
sir.
It's okay, sir.
Okay. So this can also be represented on a table on the graph form. So we said that at equilibrium, quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. So when the demand curve equates the supply curve, so at point E, you are saying that equilibrium has been established. So the equilibrium price is read on the vertical axis. This is the equilibrium price. It's read at the vertical axis, while the equilibrium quantity is also determined at the horizontal axis. So when demand and the supply curve meets, their meeting point is the equilibrium. So when we track that point to the price level, you get the equilibrium price. You get the equilibrium price. When you also traces it to the quantity level, you get the equilibrium quantity. Hope it's okay. Is that okay?
So go say once again.
I'm saying that when the demand curve crosses the supply curve at point E, we are saying that there's equilibrium, the market equilibrium has been established. So when you trace that point to the price line on the vertical axis, you get the equilibrium price.
Hello, sir.
When you trace it to the price level, you get the equilibrium price. When you trace it to the quantity level, you get the equilibrium quantity.
Hello.
Yeah, Samuel.
Sir, please, with the hypothetical table you gave us, so am I right to say the equilibrium price is the 6 Ghana cedis, and then the
Yes.
equilibrium quantity is the 6 units that the consumer is demanded?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, but the graph is not showing that, because I see
Yes, there
they
was
are not intersecting at 6.
a 6. There's an error here.
That,
It's 6.
good, thank you.
So it's 6. Then the quantity 2 is 6. So we are saying that at this point, buyers and sellers agree on price and quantity. We can also get a situation whereby there's a disequilibrium. Disequilibrium can also occur when quantity demanded is not equal to the quantity supply. This creates imbalance in the market. There are two forms of disequilibrium. You can get the shortage or the surplus. So when we talk about shortage, we are talking about excess demand. The shortage occurs when price is below the equilibrium price. Whenever the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supply, buyers compete for the limited goods. So whenever the price is below the quantity supply, then the equilibrium price, buyers compete for the limited goods. Because consumers are rational, they always aim at maximizing satisfaction. So at the lower price, they want to buy more of the product. So they compete for the limited goods. And this will force the price to rise. So you can say that when the price is too low, demand exceeds supply. The buyers bid up the prices because they are competing for the limited product. Assuming when you go to the market, you want to buy shoes, and there are only 5 shoes in the market. But at the price of, let's say, 200 Ghana cedis, but the available shoes in the market is just 5. But the buyers are 20. So because of the limited amount of goods in the market, there will be competition among the buyers. Therefore, they will force the price to rise. So pushing the price to rise, it will fall back to what? The equilibrium level. Because at that moment, demand has exceeded the supply. So the buyers will bid up for prices, because it will come to a point that those who can bid for higher price will get the product to buy. So this will push the price to increase. Therefore, the market will move towards the equilibrium. This is the let's Let's use the hypothetical table. At the price of 4, consumers are buying 8, but supplied 4 units of the product. Because quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied, there will be shortage. Because what is available for the consumers to buy is more than what is there to buy. Therefore, because more consumers are in the market, they will push the price to rise back to 6, to the equilibrium price. The same thing applies to at the price of 6. The quantity that the consumers are willing to supply is 10. But what the consumers are willing to buy is 2. Therefore, it will to push the price to fall back to 6. Because more is available for consumption. But those who are willing to buy, they are less. Example is whenever there's bumper harvest, what happened? What happened whenever there's bumper harvest of tomatoes? What happened?
The prices go down.
The prices are always low.
Yes, because more are available for consumption, but the buyers are less. So for them to catch up with the market, they'll rather reduce the price of the product. That's what we are talking about now. So whenever quantity demanded exceed the quantity supply, there's shortage. That's excess demand. So because of the excess demand due to too low price, the demand will exceed the supply. Then the buyers themselves will bid up for higher price. So this will push price to increase. So when the price increases, the market moves towards the equilibrium. On the other hand, there can be excess supply. Excess supply also occurs when price is above the equilibrium. The effect is that quantity supply is greater than the quantity demanded. The goods remained unsold. Therefore, sellers will reduce price to catch up with their unsold goods. Typical example, I learned if you go to the cocoa farmers, now some of the buyers are giving them 1,000 Ghana cedis instead of the 2,000 cedis. But because the buyer needs money, no, the farmer needs money for his or her child school, you rather prefer to take the 100 Ghana cedis than to wait for the market price. Therefore, in effect, the quantity supply is greater than the quantity demanded. Therefore, there are a whole lot of goods unsold. So for them to catch up with the goods, they have to reduce their prices. So reducing their prices will push the quantity supply to the equilibrium level. Any questions so far? Any question? Any question?
Yes, sir. So equilibrium ensures that there is no surplus, there is no shortage, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I hope you remembered your mathematical tools for economics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now we are coming to apply them. Okay. So this is a demand function. The quantity demanded is equal to A minus PB. The quantity supply is the QS. The QS is equal to C plus DP. So at equilibrium, we know that quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supply. This allows us to solve for price. Therefore, you need to equate the quantity supply to the quantity demanded. So with this function, it allows us to solve for what? The equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So let's use an example to work out on this. So this is an example. Assuming this is a demand function, the demand function is 10 minus P, and the supply function is 2 plus P. We all know that in equilibrium, demand is equal to supply. So when demand is equal to supply, 10 minus P is equal to 2 plus P. Solving for X, you know to group like terms. Therefore, the minus P will crosses the equal sign to become plus P. Therefore, 10 minus 2 is equal to P plus P. So 8 is equal to 2P. 4 is equal to what? P is equal to 4. Is that okay?
Kindly go over, sir, please.
I'm saying that we all know that at equilibrium, quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. So we are having this function.
Hello, sir. Can you please relate the first equation you gave, the previous slide before this one, to the function you're giving now? Yes.
It's just an example.
Okay, so it's not a standard equation for demand.
It's not a standard
Okay.
equation.
All right, that's fine.
So this is how the demand function looks like. And here's how the
So,
supply function
so
looks
let's say
like.
in an exam, they are going to give you the demand function, right?
Yes, I'll give you the demand function. I'll give you a supply function.
Okay.
So it's a matter of equating the supply function to the demand function. So that's 10 minus P is equal to 2 plus P. You first of all solve for price. So we group like terms. So therefore, 10 minus 2 plus is equal to P plus P. So 8 is equal to 2P. So when you divide both sides by 2, you get P is equal to 4. Naima,
So at the end of everything, we are supposed to plot these final answers on a graph. If I'm
yes,
understanding it well.
yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you an example after this class. So I'll post it on the LMS.
Very
And
well.
that will be your second assignment.
Okay.
I want
So
to,
the first assignment, we submitted it into your email, correct?
yes, but then next week we are meeting face to face.
So not
Oh,
all of us.
Obvious,
Yeah,
yes.
obvious.
next week is face to
Yes, sir.
face.
Next week is face to face, sir.
So
If
it's
you
face to face, but not all of us will be able to attend.
Okay, so after the assignment, you can send your result to the class rep to print it and submit on your behalf.
Very well, sir. Very well.
Because with this one, I will never entertain late comers. Late submission, I will never entertain it. Okay. So now we've gotten our P, that's the equilibrium price to be 4. Therefore, we substitute it into the demand function. So we know that Q is equal to 10 minus 4 is equal to, therefore, the demand function is P minus 10 minus P. And we know the equilibrium price to be 4. Therefore, the Q is equal to 10 minus 4. That gives us 6. So equilibrium outcome, the equilibrium price is equal to 4, the equilibrium quantity is 6. This confirms the graph results or the table results. I hope it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir.
Should I go over again?
Sir, please, yes.
Is that okay?
Sir, please go over for the quantity.
Okay. Now we know our price, the equilibrium price to be 4. Therefore, we substitute it into the demand function. Even if we substitute it into supply function, still we get back to the same 6. So we substitute in the demand function. The demand function is 10 minus P. But the P is 4. Therefore, the Q becomes 10 minus 4, which is the same as 6. So 10 minus 4 is what? 6. Let's use the supply function. The supply function is 2 plus P. And we know our P to be 4. Therefore, the QS is equal to 2 plus 4. That gives us what? 6. Therefore, the equilibrium price is 4. The equilibrium quantity is 6. I hope it's clear.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So is there a case where after substituting the price, no, um, is it wrong if the price which has been arrived at doesn't equate the quantity demanded and the quantity supply? Then meaning there is a mistake in there or something.
Yes, when you get that figure, then there's a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I hope there's no question so far. Any question? Okay. Now let us consider government intervention in the market. Now let's assume that the government has imposed tax on a product. What is the effect of government imposition of a tax on a product? So a tax, you all know the meaning of tax. Tax is a compulsory payment imposed by the government on producers or consumers. So whenever the government imposes tax, it increases the cost of production. So after the tax imposition, the price of the goods increases, the quantity supplied decreases, consumers pay more of the product, and the producers receive less of it. Do you agree to that?
Sir, please go over.
Now we know that in equilibrium, demand is equal to supply. And now there's a government intervention in the market. We all know that when demand meets supply, it determines the market price and the market quantity. It determines the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. Now there's a government intervention. The government has imposed tax in the market. What will be the effect? And I'm saying that a tax is a compulsory payment imposed by government on producers or consumers. And the effect of any imposition of tax increases the cost of production. Therefore, whenever there's a tax on a product, it raises the price of that product. It reduces the quantity demanded. The quantity decreases. And the consumers pay more of the price, while the producers receive less. because the producer has to give some of the amount of money into the government as well tax.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Before you come to the diagram or the graph, the previous slide, please. The previous, good. You said that the effect is that it increases cost of production, and that relates to the producer, right?
Yes.
So I'm looking at an employee whose salary hasn't changed, but there's been an imposition of, let's say, income tax.
Okay.
Doesn't it affect the disposable income of the employee? Because here it looks as if we are looking at just the producer, and it is after it's produced that I'm going to purchase that I will feel the effect.
Now,
Thank you, sir.
whenever there's a imposition of tax, it affects your disposable income. Even on the producer or the consumer, it affects your disposable income. Because in effect, prices increases. Because assuming as a worker, you are receiving salary that has not, you've received a salary without any adjustment whatsoever, but the government has increased income tax. The money at hand, the disposable income will fall because initially the amount of money that you were receiving has reduced. So the total product you can buy within that specific period of time, you cannot get it because you don't have more income available. So in effect, the price has increased already. So your disposable income, the amount available for you to buy any product, has fallen. So you can't purchase more of the product, so quantities will decrease because we are going to buy more because they've imposed tax on you. You are going to pay more. You're going to pay more on that product. And whenever you pay more, the producer, for him to channel some of the revenue to the government, he will get less of the product. He gets less of the revenue, of the income. That's what we are talking about. And now we are talking about the market where buyers and sellers meet. You're not talking about, let's say, you're a salary worker, you receive your income, the government has imposed tax on you. The moment the government imposes tax on you, no matter what, the disposable income will fall because the amount of money that was available initially is not the same as after the imposition of the tax. But here's the case that we are talking about the market where buyers and sellers meet. So when buyers and sellers meet and there's an imposition of tax on the product, it increases the cost of production. In effect, the supplier, being rational, wants to maximize profit, will raise the price. And the consumer or the buyers, being rational, always want to maximize satisfaction, will decrease the amount of product he wants to demand because he can't pay more. Therefore, the consumer will pay more while the producer will receive less income. Joseph.
Yes, sir. So, sir, a typical scenario could be that, for instance, Farm Milk Ghana produces ice cream, yogurt. So if government impose tax on them, what they could do is to reduce the size of the farm milk to take care of that cost. In the real situation, we will get less.
Yes.
And then we'll pay more for that. Is that what that means?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Is that
Thank you,
okay?
sir.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yes.
So whenever there's a imposition of tax on supply, the tax causes an upward shift in supply curve. Because it will cause an upward shift. So it will shift from the orange line to the green line because of the supply plus tax, because of the imposition of the tax. This reduces the amount of quantity in the market because the producers are not willing to supply more because the position of tax has increases their cost of production. This will force the supply curve to shift upward or to shift inward. Is that okay? Because of the imposition of the tax. Another intervention can be subsidy. The government can also subsidize or can put subsidy or can subsidize an item in the production process. For instance, the government has subsidized fertilizer, the price on fertilizer. It has reduced the prices for the farmers. So in effect, whenever the government subsidizes any item on a product, it lowers the cost of production. So a subsidy is a financial assistance provided by the government to producers. So any subsidy lowers the cost of production. So in effect of subsidy is that it increases the quantity supply, and you will see a rightward shift of the supply curve. So after any imposition of, let's say, after any subsidy, the price of a product reduces, which in effect causes quantity to increase. The consumers benefit from the lower prices, while the producers also benefit from the support from the government. So a subsidy reduces prices, increases quantity, the consumers benefit from the lower prices, and the producers also benefit from the support. Typical example is what? Fertilizer to the farmers. It increases their productivity. The cocoa, they get more products. So when they get more products, it will reduce the price of the cocoa because more is available in the market. Because of the reduction in price of the cocoa, that's why the farmers are suffering now, because more is in the market. The quantity supplied has increased because of some subsidy. The farmers are getting fertilizers. They are using the fertilizer to increase their cost of to increase their production because they are no more buying fertilizer at the higher prices, but rather they are buying it at the lower prices. So based on that, they can increase their productivity. So in effect, the consumers are benefiting from the lower price. The world markets are benefiting from us. Bank of Ghana, Ghana Bank, like the government of Ghana is also benefiting from the farmers because there's more product, there's more cocoa in the market. While the producers are also benefiting, but in effect, they are suffering as well. Because whenever you increase productivity, the price of that product will fall. Though at the initial price, whereby you presume that whenever you produce more, you get more price, you get more money. But if the prices rises to some certain threshold, you because you want to maximize profits, you produce more in the market. So whenever you are producing more, the quantity supply will exceed the quantity demanded. So when the quantity supply exceeds the quantity demanded, it will push the prices to fall back to the equilibrium. So when there's a subsidy, the effect of subsidy is that it causes an increase in supply. And whenever there's an increase in supply, you will see a rightward shift of the supply curve, that from the orange to the green line. The rightward shift. Any question? When there's a government intervention in the market, so let's say there's a policy on tax, and there's a government policy on subsidy. The effect is that there will be an increase in price. The effect on price is that the price will increase whenever there's a tax imposition on a product. But the effect on quantity is that it reduces the quantity in the market. And so whenever there's a subsidy in the market, it reduces the price of the product. When the price of the product reduces, in effect, the quantity in the market also increases because of the subsidy. So a typical word example is fuel taxes increases transportation cost. Whenever there's a tax on fuel, the 1 cedi tax on fuel, what did they happen to the transportation cost? The drivers increase transportation cost. They increase the fare because of the 1 cedi imposition. The cocoa, because of the fuel tax of 1 cedi, the government, because of the imposition of the fuel tax, it increases the cost of the transportation cost. So typical, another example is fertilizer subsidies. Fertilizer subsidies increases agricultural products because now the cost of production when it comes to agriculture has reduced because of the subsidy. Another example is imposition of duties. Import duties affect supply in the market. Whenever import duties increases, it reduces the price, it reduces the quantity in the market because of the imposition of the import duties. Any question? Any question? Any question? Okay. Now we've learned that equilibrium determines price and equilibrium quantity when demand and supply meets. Taxes reduces output and subsidies increases what? Output. I will upload the MISM. The MISM will be a take-home MISM. It will be uploaded on the LMS probably tomorrow, so that when we meet next week, then you submit it to me. That will be the second AI for you, the second assessment, continual assessment. Any question? Any question? Hello?
Hi.
Hello, sir.
Any question?
Sir, please. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Please, I beg you, can you go over the subsidy, the graph? Yes, this one. Let's can you go over one more time for me?
I'm saying that whenever the government gives, let's say, farmers some subsidy.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Adubia.
Please, your voice is quite faint. I can barely hear anything.
Okay, I'm saying that whenever the government gives subsidy to, let's say, to farmers, it aids their production. Therefore, they are able to supply more in the market. So subsidy shift the supply curve rightward. Therefore, you see an increase in supply. From this point to this side because of the subsidy. But when it comes to the tax, whenever the government imposes tax, it shifts the supply curve inward or upward. That is from the red line to the green line. So we are saying that tax causes upward shift in supply curve by reducing the supply in the market. While subsidy causes an increase in supply curve by causing a rightward shift of the supply curve. Is that okay? Is that okay?
We'll observe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's call it a day. I'll upload.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Gideon.
So if I use up like the upward shift for tax, right? Can I use downward shift as in a term for subsidy? Is it okay or?
No. You can't.
Okay, because I'm thinking maybe if there is an upshift, then probably there is a downshift.
It's a matter of just when we say outward shift in supply curve, you can say from supply curve SS1 to SS2. You can label it as this as SS1, supply curve 1, supply curve 2. So SS1 to SS2 means there's an upward shift in supply. So when it comes to this one too, you can say that this SS1, that is SS2. So there's an inward or rightward shift. Rightward, upward, rightward, leftward, you can use it, but you need to label it as, let's say this is SS1, SS2, this is DD1. So when this shift to this side, you can say there's a shift from S1 to S2. S1 to S2. Okay, let's call it a day.
Sir, please, the first assignment, are you going to send the email now or you have already sent long? I didn't hear you that place, please.
Oh, the first assignment, I learned you submitted it the second week that we met, or?
Oh, okay, then, sir, please, I'm not able to submit my own. Can you just pardon me to do that?
Get in touch with the class rep for him to give you the email.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
If you haven't submitted it, if you haven't submitted the first assignment, do so.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So do you have some past questions for us too as well?
I'll give you more questions for you to practice on.
Okay.
Whatever I will give you is the same similar thing that will come in the exam. It's similar.
Not the
But
same thing.
just pay attention to whatever I give you as an assignment or as a practice. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye, sir. Bye, sir.